Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the League of Inches podcast. Wednesday night, once again, that means, and it's the black background for those watching on YouTube, it is Supercoach. I would normally say I'm very keen to rip and tear into this, but I've got to do a quick announcement. So Wong, it's White, is on Struggle Street. We are sliding down a ladder quicker than I don't know where I'm trying to go with this, but it's just ridiculous. It's like it's got some Vaso on it, and I'm dead set gone. So, 2000 3 weeks ago, I'm about 16 now, but we'll see that in a second. We'll go around and check in with the boys and see how they're going after their weeks and their scores. The big thing for me, the last 3 weeks now in a row, I've stuffed my captain every single time, and it has cost me a shitload. It's just got to be said. It has really cost me, and I'm really starting to get over it. So basically, every week, whoever I captain, guys, word of warning moving forward, don't captain him, go somewhere else, and you'll be up for a good round. Because I probably would have actually had a good round and actually probably beat the boys if I actually got my captaincy right, and I fucking didn't. So it was what it was. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's know how the results went. I'm going to go to Trav first. I want to know how you went on the weekend, but I actually want to know, first of all, how your draft score went. Did you have a win on the weekend?
So I've already got that ready to go. So this is my daily reminder, Joel. Thank you so much for bringing that up, my man. I knew I was friends with you for a reason. We made up from our conversation yesterday. So League of Inches draft, yes, round 5 result. I got 764, defeated What's a Farnworth, which is this loser under here, 759. So I win by 5. I beat him by 5. He can come up with all the excuses he wants, but at the end of the day, you can only play against what's put in front of you. And if he's shit enough not to fix his team, then that's his own fault. I win by 5. Done.
Hey,
congratulations.
Hang on. Can I clarify something first? Because I was out of the loop all weekend. My internet wasn't working. I haven't seen chats, things like that. I thought, like, I seen a chat, I think it was on Thursday night or something, and Jesse was saying it was an easy win. So I just assumed he was going to win.
It was an easy win.
He did say it was an easy win. Going to be an easy win. Comfortable win is also what he mentioned too. He mentioned it twice.
Double down.
Yeah,
I think it was back-to-back messages.
He said twice.
He doubled down with a back-to-back message, and at the end he's got beat. All right. Well, Jesse, do you have any right of reply before we get into the classic side of things? Yeah. Because I could talk about draft as well, but it's quite hard to talk about it when you're 5 and zip. It's very hard to talk about. So,
look, Trav beat me by 5, and I was a man down. Cotter was laid out, and I didn't.
Poor drafting.
I was busy.
Poor drafting.
Doing stuff.
Exactly right.
Yeah, it was. It was poor drafting. I'll admit it. There's no AEs in the comp, and I'm firm. Standing by the fact that I don't want AEs in the comp, and I think it's a good thing that we don't do an AE or captain. And it bit me this week, but it is what it is. It was looking like a very comfortable win. I would have had him by, 60, 70 points, but it didn't happen. So congratulations. You're 5th now on the ladder, and I'm 7th. So we're flying. So neither of us are doing, exceptionally well, but it's a long comp, and I'm in it for the long run.
To be fair, you've also scored points for 300 points more than me this year.
I'm third. I think I'm third in the ladder for total points scored.
You're third I think you're third in our team, in our Div 1, but you're also third overall, I think, or top 5 or something in the whole of 60 teams over the 5 leagues. So what's funny is that Joel is unbeaten, but he's like 6th highest in our league for points scored.
It's
just funny how it works. It is just funny.
Honestly, you're at the mercy of the matchup gods in draft, and you can score. Honestly, you can score 800 points every week, but if you play the guy that scores 801, you're not getting the dub, and there's no point. So the points master comp's always a good one to win, but
it's been fun, and it's been some pretty high scores in the old League of Inches draft so far this year. So 5 divisions, it's going strong, and everyone's loving it. We've got the big group chat there going off, and everyone seems to really be enjoying it. AE is a touchy subject. We won't get into that. So shout out.
It's only a touchy subject in one league. It's not overall.
I copped it, and AE would have been nice, and I'm still firm on the no AEs. So take that one into consideration.
Ooh,
It's the best thing about this draft competition that we've got is that it's literally a 24/7 group. Like it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I wake up at
fantastic.
6 o'clock in the morning. There's 500 messages overnight. It's not just draft. It's talking about classic. It's talking about news. It's injuries. It's what are we doing for trades? Like, yeah, it's brilliant. Plus, then we've
Yeah.
got all the we've had a few bits and pieces about Trump and his tariffs and all sorts of things. It's actually a really good group, and I highly recommend anyone next year you get yourself in it because you're missing out. It's a wonderful group of people. But
Shout out.
to go back to the original stuff, Joel.
Before you do, a quick shout out as well, because we do start our knockout competition this weekend. So really keen to get into that. A brand new thing that we have added to our draft system, which I think is awesome. It's like to familiarize everyone with it. It's basically like your FA Cup. All 5 divisions go up against each other. They've ranked them with points scored so far. Really keen to see how it works because a lot of teams have changed now with a lot of injuries and things like that. I think there's going to be a number of upsets over the next couple of weeks as we really get into the start of this and celebrate the big boys and the little boys.
It's funny, like I went and did all the data for it. We've got our highest draftee score is 4,100, just a tick over 4,100 points accumulated in the first 5 rounds, and our lowest draftee is 2,974. And this person's got 7 in long-term injuries to 5 of, and 5 of those 7 are his top 5. No, sorry, 5 of his 7 injuries were picked within the first 7 rounds.
Oh my god!
So he's there. He's not dropping away, but he's just absolutely copping it from injuries, and they're not long enough to want to drop away or anything like that. So, yeah, just the disparity between the 60 teams is a good 1,200 points.
Massive.
Just
in 5 weeks.
Just a reminder. That's tough. That is tough. And just a reminder, there is promotion, relegation. There's everything. It's so good. But back to the original question, because as always, we just go off on a tangent. We have this big pre-game meeting.
Any moment we can have a go at Jesse. Any moment.
Yeah, we'll turn it around soon. We'll be back into sabotaging, no doubt, at some point in this episode. He's already tried it today. I already forgot what it was, but he was sabotaging something. Oh, yeah, Lomax. That's right. He sabotaged our Lomax.
He
play.
cursed. He cursed Lomax.
Joel tells me to do a write-up on Lomax, and then the next day
of
Lomax.
This guy.
God. I'm like, oh, you killed Lomax. I'm like, Lomax wasn't even my shout out. I just wrote it up.
Oh, thanks, Sabotage. Trav, talk to us. How'd you go on the weekend?
I had a better than average weekend in the classic realm. Now we're back onto what we talk about, Supercoach Classic. I got 1,208. So top 14%. So that was pretty good score. It rose me 6,972 spots to 26K. I've got a team values now over 14 million. So I'm sitting very pretty with my team value. I'm actually really happy with my score. I'm projected to go projected at 1,400 for round 6 this week, which is quite nice. Projectors don't mean much, but with a total score of 5,839. I captained Gutho on the weekend and welcomed his 130. That was fantastic. I VC'd Cleary. And actually, if the updates that Cleary got of 94 had have come through before Gutho played, it might have been a different story, because the way captains and how I've been going this year, I actually said, I think I said on the podcast last week, anything above 90 for my VC, I'm probably going to take. But the updates for Cleary when he went up 25 points didn't come through until very late. So I didn't muck around with that, or didn't get a chance to.
Didn't someone on this panel predict he would go down on the updates?
Yeah,
I did actually. I thought he would, because they rewarded, I think, 2 line breaks when I was like, surely he barely got 1. But
he was
enjoy
everywhere.
that. He was everywhere. He was literally, God, he was relentless.
I think what we'll talk about here, though, Jesse, is, and this is probably something you'll probably elaborate a little bit more on, is I left a lot of points on the bench.
Oh yeah.
I picked. I said in the podcast last week I was going to reserve Iongi, and I didn't. So I missed 107. Instead of what I was going to do was not reserve Mamazelis and put the reserve on Iongi. So that cost me 70 points, literally. So that was one. And I think that was pretty much my only other. The other ones I was always going to reserve. I was always going to reserve Jenkins. I wasn't going to do Purdue. So that doesn't hurt me. I'm not fussed by that one because I wasn't going to do that. So yeah, but that and the Sandon Smith 65 that I copped, that he got that I missed out on, which I would have liked to have had. So yeah, just points on the bench.
Yeah.
Jesse.
Points on the there you go. All right. Well, I beat Trav by 1 this week. I got 1,209. Top scored out of you boys again. If I can catch up. I actually dropped rank this week. First time I've dropped rank. I dropped 91 spots, so it wasn't that bad.
Save me some money.
Bets off.
Yeah.
Save me some money.
1,706. So yeah, still doing pretty well. Team values 14, just pretty much just shy of 14.3. And almost 100k in the bank. So it's doing pretty good on that end too. Total score 6,174. So not bad. Doing all right. Yeah, for the same thing that you said, Trav, like I have so many points on the bench. I was seeing so many screenshots, people posting up in the chats and all the groups and everything, just being like, God, look at my non-players. And there was, Purdue, Nicholson was a big one, 91. I was contemplating swapping Mamazelos. I think we were talking about it before the game started, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I feel like Nicholson could be good on that edge. Iro, Wilton are out, could be solid. I didn't do it, and it cost me 50 points in the end. So that would have been green if I'd done that move. But either way, the rest of them I reserved comfortably, and my reserves almost pick himself now. Like I'm sitting on Ponga, Hines and Campbell as my 3 reserves, and it's just the one other player I have to choose from every week. So, yeah, all in all, like, it would have been nice to have Purdue's points and Sandon Smith's points, but yeah, so I feel like every week this year it's been the same story. Like I've left the majority of the points non-players, non-picked, and I've picked pretty much the worst 4 every single round. So, what could be much better, but either way, can't complain too much. So, doing all right.
Yeah, let's move on. I got 1,117. So again, it's literally just the captaincy. I was actually pretty happy with the rest of my scores and how it played out. If I got the captaincy right, I'll get into at least that 1,200 mark, and it becomes a pretty respectable round, and I'll walk away pretty happy. But obviously left a number of points out there. It's dead set. I keep saying it's dead set. Just shoot me in the foot at the moment doing these captaincy options, but that's part of the game. So I dropped down 6,000 spots, 16,987. Total score at the moment is 5,918. So I want to do a few big plays this week, and we'll talk about it a bit later on because I'm currently a bit stuck on where to go and how to do it. So time to make some plays and get back up to where I deserve to be. So Wongett's White deserves to be back up top and claiming a couple of these top scores for the weeks between us boys. So I'm down in the dumps. We had a bit of a meeting at the pub over the last couple of days. The boys are back on. There's a few infighting in camp, but sorted out over a couple of old-fashioned fisticuffs, and they're ready to rip and tear now. So look out. We're good to go this week. Let's get into a bit of the TLTA, our team list. So we'll go through this quick because we've got a huge show tonight, guys. We've got our pod edition. So normally we do this a bit later on in the year. Obviously, we did do this before the season started as well. We know everyone absolutely loves these and froths them. So we're doing one at the moment. Probably a good time of year just to get in there and see what sort of guys, because already there's people out there that want to make some moves and catch up on points and things like that. So it's a great time to get that done. So there's plenty to talk about tonight. It's going to be a huge one. Really keen to discuss everything and pick the minds of both, obviously, Jesse and Trav here. So first up, the Dolphins versus Penrith Panthers at Suncorp. So for the Dolphins, Gilbert returns in the second row, which means Plath remains at lock, which is huge for, I guess, super coaches that do own, I guess, both in a way, but more so for Plath. He's been a bit under the radar, I think, and the fact that now he looks to have locked in that lock position once again could be huge because we all seen what he did last year, and he absolutely was ultra consistent there. For the Penrith Panthers, a huge in with Dylan Edwards returning at fullback and Talangi taking the 6 jersey for his first official start with the club. Obviously, he played against the Storm. That was off the bench. And Kenny's also out with Somerton playing at 9 for this one. So anything to talk about in terms of Supercoach related here, boys?
Plath at lock is fantastic, to be fair. I think his price is pretty much where you kind of expect it. So you're not, getting him discounted like you were last year, but 8 games at lock last season, averaged 68 points, 53 in base pretty much. So 62 minutes as well. So he's always tracking over a point a minute, 1.1 pretty much. So yeah, look, if he can just keep that down, and we spoke about it last week as well, talking about like, this is the week that Plath can make this position his again, like lock it down and keep Gilbert out of it. And it looks like he has now too, which is really good to see because, the Dolphins look better for it whenever he's in that role, and, he's so busy. So, I think regardless, you're not getting him cheap, but I think he's just a fantastic buy between hooker and second row. I just don't think you can really go wrong with him. He's such good value.
I agree. Trav?
I concur. The Psycho is my love man. So I love that fella, and he's a freaking freak. And he's in the 13. So I'm very, very much so want to get him 617K, just so that at hooker and at hooker 2RF. So yeah,
pretty good.
The only other one to talk about is Dylan Edwards is back. So let's I'm very keen to see how he goes and what he does this weekend, and to whether he comes back into the fullback frame.
Yep. You mean for the Blues?
No, for Supercoach.
Oh, yep. Okay.
He's not very well owned. I'm not going to talk about him today in terms of pod plays, but I think we need to see 1 or 2 weeks out of him before anyone really gets on him. But this man should be spoken about in the fullback realm.
But then I'm not touching him because of Origin.
Yeah, he hasn't had a price change yet either. He's still sitting at 839K. It's freaking big dollars. Big dollars.
Oof. Big dog. Big dog's got to eat. Next game up, the Dragons unchanged from their loss last week to the Eels. That's right, guys. Lost to the Eels. For the Gold Coast Titans, they welcome back Semi Verrills. Randall moves back to lock in place of Tino, who is suspended for a week. And Jojo Fafita returns to the wing, pushing Sami to the centers and Fermor back to the back row. Not too much, in my opinion, to talk about here. Obviously, Tino's a huge loss. I think a lot of super coaches now have him. So that is a painful blow, especially against the Dragons. I think Tino would have almost been odds on for a try in this one. So bit of a blow.
Yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? He's pretty popular now, obviously very highly owned, but he's just a mainstay in everyone's side between like front row, second row. Like he's just, everyone, I would imagine pretty much, more than half of Supercoach. So I haven't seen his ownership actually at the moment. They're feeling that one a little bit. So it's a bit unfortunate. This high tackle thing is just so rubbish. Shouldn't have happened, but either way, we've lost him. So yeah, you just make do. We got plenty of talent, honestly. There's so many players that we're leaving points away. So I don't feel like you're really going to feel it too badly. Maybe 10, 20 points, give or take, if you get your backup right. But yeah, it's just, it is what it is. We'll have him back soon. Don't even think about moving him on for a week. One that's in the Dragons side, obviously, he's pretty highly talked about. I don't know if you want to mention anything now. We'll get into it after. But Dylan Egan, sitting there as a very, very popular trade-in. At this stage.
Save it for the trades. Save it for the
trades.
Save it.
Done. That's fine.
Let's get through this. Trav, anything to add?
No.
Perfect. Next one up, Broncos against the Roosters at Suncorp. That's your Friday 8 p.m. game. For the Broncos, Piakura is out, is suspended, but he'd be out probably through injury as well. So Jaden Hunt comes into the side for that one. Adam Reynolds has been named, guys, so apparently that is all good. So I know he's in a number of people's teams and things like that. Probably talk about him as well at some point, I'm guessing, in the traded out segment. So nothing much there for now. For the Sydney Roosters, Chatty Townsend has been dropped, which does see Hugo Savala into the halfback jersey. Nat Butcher starts at prop for Lindsay Collins, and Victor Radley is back at lock. Mark Nwanga Nitawasi is the 18th man, and many around us predicting Dom Young to be dropped this week and Nwanga Wingatasi to be on the wing. So just keep an eye on late mail for that one, but there is very strong mail around already regarding that one. Jesse?
Yeah, I would imagine he comes into the lineup, to be fair. Again, at whose expense? It's probably Dom Young's, to be fair. But we'll have to wait and see what happens because a lot of shaking around. But really good to see, obviously, the exclusion of Townsend. Sorry, mate. Haven't been very good. So we'll have to just see. Hugo Savala, look, bottom dollar, 198K. I think his price changes this week coming. Break even's about 45, I believe. Yeah, it is 45. So yeah, he's a 198. He's a dual second row halfback. Such an interesting position to have. I don't really know. There's too many other, or if any, there's other 2 RF halfbacks as a dual. So really handy, but I think he might be a pretty worthy shout in the next week or two as a downgrade option if you let these two at the moment real popular ones pass. And hopefully he's good. Like hopefully we can see some stuff out of him that's promising because anything's better than what they've had at the moment. So yeah, but besides that, there's a few Roosters popping off. We can get into that a bit after.
After seeing his highlights, come on down to my team, Savala. I'm keen to have you in. Trav?
Just bear in mind that Lindsay Collins is out for 6 weeks. So if you're a holder of Noffa White like I am, or if you're getting Su'a Wrong, who's coming into a lot of teams this weekend, their job security is pretty good. Other than that, nothing that we're not going to talk about soon.
Sharkies against Manly, Battle of the Beaches over in Perth. So a bit of an odd one there. But and that's a double header as well. So for the Sharkies, it has Talakai returns alongside Wilton, which pushes Tapua and Billy Burns to the reserves. Hiroti remains in the centres for Coral Hero, who's out till about round 9, what I've recently seen. So welcome back a couple of key players there for Manly. LA returns to start at prop, shifting Sipley to the bench with Waddell missing due to the suspension. Still, how he sat on the field, I will absolutely never know. Tommy Talau is the 18th man. Still can't get a look into this team. What a bit of a fall from grace from Tommy Talau because they've got room. They've got Faulalo at the moment playing ahead of him, which I find crazy going off Tommy Talau's form last year. But hey, I'm not the coach. Jesse?
I have nothing to add for these two teams. They're the same. Well, the Sharks definitely are the same as they always are. Manly, that's pretty much as they can do as well. So, yeah, pretty straightforward stuff.
Who would you rather own this weekend, Nico Hines or DCE?
Oh, Nico.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hands down, I probably own Nico more than 95% of other halfbacks in the comp, regardless.
You're Nico's love child or something.
Exactly
you're
right.
absolutely obsessed with him. I shouldn't have asked you.
Yeah,
Trav,
wrong person to ask.
I'll ask you.
I'm going to go DCE. Just what I saw from last week from Hines. I mean, Hines is still averaging 72. Let's be fair. That's no scrub material. But for this week in this game, I'm watching DCE about to go over to Perth in the wonderful weather and just absolutely towel up the Sharks.
Yeah, but the same breath, it's like you saw Hines do next to nothing, hit 50 points. Like that's, I love that.
42, wasn't it?
No, it's more than that. It was 48. So basically 50. But the same thing you can say Jaden Campbell. He did next to nothing, scored 50 as well. So like that's what you want. You want guys 52. That just breathe points. Yeah, there you go. There's 100 between the two of them. I suppose it's not what you want when you're paying, 1.5 mil for the pair. So
there's a couple of 300,000 centre wings doing that at the moment. So
pretty much.
Trav, anything to add for this one?
No, that's it.
For next one, the Bunnies against the Cowboys, second game in that double header. For the Bunnies, new halves pairing of Sullivan and Latrell Mitchell. Alex Johnson also returns and Aitken returning as well in the centres, which is a huge boost. And Liam LeBlanc takes the 14 spot. For the North Queensland Cowboys, Cotter returns at lock after missing last week due to an illness. McIntyre goes back onto the bench. Harrison Edwards goes to 18th man. Anything to discuss here, Trav?
Well, obviously Humphries is out for 4 weeks, so he's a must trade. Good price, can get him to anyone really. I think it's only just, 250 odd K to get to Cleary. I think
not bad.
so, something around there. Mamazelis has been talked about as a sell. And I've had many questions in our draft chat and people who have DM'd me around who would you trade, Starling and Mamazelis? And I tell everyone, and I have said the same thing over and over again, I wouldn't trade either. Hooker is just not interesting. It's no spot for me. There's probably only one. We're going to talk about it soon. I'd just hold. I honestly would. I think it's a waste of a trade. Really, they're not making that much more points than anyone else. So why bother wasting that trade? So Mamzel's is a chat. And how good is Lachlan Hubmer? Seriously.
Oh, yeah. Gun.
How good is that dude? He's got a break even of -22. Got 65 on the weekend. Oh, man, I was
Playing in
looking
this
forward to
week.
having him back.
Oh, he's a play every week, it seems, man.
I'll be
Honestly,
playing
he
in
hasn't
for
played a...
Just to lock in
Replacing
50,
Tino.
60, you know you're getting it, hey?
Yeah. Oh, it's so easy. It's so safe as well. I honestly, I don't think there's a game where you expect Hubner to shit the bed and score 35. I just don't think he has it in him. He just does too much. So, yeah, I really like the play. It's so easy to do.
very
Latrell Mitchell in the 6, though. Surprised that wouldn't come up. That's freaking massive. I don't know. There's no reference, no sample size. I have no idea what to expect, but I reckon he'll do quite well. But the thing is, I want him to play these games at center. I don't want him to be covering for 5'8" until round 12 or bits and pieces here and there because he won't get a duel for it. Just play in the centers, just at least, you know. But like you and Aitken's back, Whiten's there. It's not going to happen. He's not going to get more
Dual
games at
5'8"
center.
fullback.
Yeah, but I don't want another 5'8". That's the problem. Give me another center. Give me Latrell Mitchell center, and I'm locked in. But look, either way, if he does get 5'8", I'm not going to complain about it. Probably say goodbye to Jaden Campbell. But yeah, look, I don't know if either one's going to happen, to be honest. I think he'll just be a fullback that we sit on. But yeah, well, eyes are on him. It's not a bad game to come out and play as a 5'8" against the Cows. So yeah, interesting stuff, man. Shaking up a little.
Next one up, the Eels taking on the Raiders over in Darwin. This one, unfortunately, no Lomax. He's been ruled out for 6 odd weeks with a basically a fractured foot. So thanks to Jesse for the sabotage mission there. But Riley Smith is named to start at hooker, but we all know what happened last week. Hopgood ended up playing at hooker and Guymer started at lock. So that's probably what will happen once again. For the Canberra Raiders, no changes to the team that won on the weekend against the Cronulla Sharks. No surprises there at all. Jesse, anything to add here?
No, not particularly. No, Lomax, I'm very unfortunate. That's harsh for the Eels. They obviously need him more than anything else. But yeah, look, we'll see how it goes, man. Darwin's it's gonna be a bit of a battle, but at least they're playing the Raiders. You know what I mean? It's gonna be probably harsher conditions for the Raiders to be going up there than it is for the Eels. So yeah, it could be
I
anything.
think we beat the Raiders last time we versed them up there, so that might be an omen. Trav?
No, nothing I'm not going to talk about soon.
Perfect. Next game up, it's one of the first of the Sunday. Storm taking on the New Zealand Warriors. For the Storm, once again, Hughes and Leo are both named. Anderson on the wing, Wishart at 14. So basically no changes to the team of last weekend against Manly. And for the Warriors, coming off a bye, Rocco Berry named to make his first appearance of the year. Pompey shifts to the wing, Kossi to the reserves, and Bunty Afoa in the 14 jersey. Must be the biggest 14 I've ever seen. Big Bunty Afoa, so love to see it. Anything to add in this one? I think, and we'll probably talk about down the track, but I feel like this is the week you start trying to get on the Storm boys. And a very juicy run coming up now.
Yeah, I think you should have been trying to get on the Storm boys.
If you hadn't already.
Yeah, exactly. For round 2. Yeah, man. Has a team ever scored triple digits? Because I feel like
You're predicting it this one.
Nah, maybe not this game. I still think it's an absolute drubbing. Probably, I reckon 60 plus. I reckon this is the week the Warriors go on the list. Storm's too good, man. Honestly, I wish I had 7, 8, 9 of them in my side. To be honest with you, and I'd do it comfortably.
To just to touch on that, geez, I wish the Storm hadn't have benched everyone at the 20 minutes to go when we were up
Yeah.
when we'd scored
That's-
42, because I really wanted Joel to put something together about Manly making the
Oh,
list,
2
because
points.
I was
people are
ready.
picking Manly to get there, and round 5 Manly are on the list. So I thought, geez, but anyways,
It would have
they
been.
did.
It would have been nice.
That's off topic, but because I would like to have seen the chatter around that.
Yeah.
It was all DCE's fault.
I'd rather Hines.
Otherwise, nothing really for me that I want to talk about in this that I'm not going to talk about soon in the pod and trades.
Yeah.
Last one to round out round 6. It is, Newcastle against the West Tigers. For the Newcastle Knights, McCarthy in for Schiller, who's out. Crosland for Cogger, and Brayley for Brayley in at 9, which means Matty Arthur starts at 14 as well. Goodness me, there's a lot of changes. And Tyrone Thompson comes on to make his debut on the bench. Here's Paul and Brody Jones are in on the running on the run-on side as well. So a number of changes here for the Newcastle Knights. What do you think that makes them look better or not? I'm probably undecided. For the Tigers, Luai is back for Latu Fainu, who is injured. Sam Fainu and Gerald Skelton return into the starting side, seeing Laulili and Tony Suka to the reserves. Anyone worth talking about in this one, Jesse?
Worth talking about?
No.
I can't decide, to be honest.
Oh,
About friggin' overdone this week, isn't it? Yeah, look, we'll get into Thomas Can obviously in a little bit when we start talking trades. But look, there's a lot of inclusions for the Knights, but there's nothing that improves them. I think they're sort of just they've lost a lot, and they've had a few come in to replace other gaps. But yeah, I think their side is probably weaker than it would have been otherwise if they hadn't lost them. But then the Tigers just go back to essentially full strength. Like I don't mind what they're doing. Skelton's back, obviously, he's a welcome addition in my draft side this week too, off the waivers. So I'll be keeping my eye on him, seeing if he can do what he can do. And Luai too. Like the Tigers basically got all their troops back. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not really feeling too confident for the Knights on this one.
Yeah, I'm a bit up in the air as well at the moment. I've got some bad juju coming off the Knights at the moment. I feel like they're starting to turn into the team we all predicted they would be at the start of the year. I just haven't liked what I've seen the last couple of weeks. Trav, anything to add before we deep dive into a couple of these players?
No, nothing for this part.
I'll ask a quick question before we go into the pod side of things. Are we all Kalen Ponga owners?
Yeah,
I am.
we are.
Are you any temptation to sell him?
No.
Or am I crazy talk? Because I've got a temptation at the moment. Can I say this? I prioritize at the moment in the next the next 6 or so weeks as well, Gutho and Pappy above Ponga. And that's my thinking at the moment. And I have Iongi, who's just going to be eating cash.
Yeah, look, it's a tricky one because like you sold Ponga last year, remember? After a couple of bad games, and I was like, "You're a madman. You don't sell Ponga. He will definitely come good." And you sold him, and he immediately went bang, 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 and you were like, "I need to get Ponga back in my side." I feel like that's what's going to happen. You look at the draw coming up for him. They've got the Tigers this week, which is at home too for him. Look, even if the Knights lose, he's at home. Like he's probably going to do some big things. Then they got the Sharks, who have been, not the Sharks that we're sort of expecting and used to. They're leaking a bit of points and they're not winning. So I don't mind that matchup. Then they've got the Warriors, who he pretty well
Magic
scores
round.
a lot of points. Yeah, Magic Round. So that's a big one. Then they've got the Rabbits. Then they got the Titans, and then the Eels, and then the Panthers before Origin with probably a lot of outs. And then the Dragons in round 13. So they play 12 and 13. So his coverage is good, but obviously that's if he doesn't get selected, which he will anyway. So you lose him at the time. Look, I like what he's got coming up. He's got a horrible break even this week of 150, but realistically, 2 weeks time, he's back to 750 again anyway. Once the rolling average drops out and it goes back to it. So yeah, it's a bit dumb, but I get it. If the only way that I would say sweet and do it is if you go into like a Teddy and you're going up, or you're not going. But then again, it's like it's a bit unnecessary. I don't know. It's very aggressive, but super unnecessary. So yeah, I can't knock it though. You're just getting off him before he plummets, but it's only going to be for like a 2 or 3 week period, and then you're going to want him back.
I'm so confused at what to
Don't
do.
do it.
Trav,
I'm not. 156 break even, but I didn't even look at that until you just mentioned it to me because I don't have any interest in trying to sell him or trade him. I don't care. Like it's Ponga, right? You take the ebbs and flows of the low game. And if the low game is the 40s that he's been getting, then so be it because he'll put out 130 and on this weekend, no worries. Like I can just see that happening. He's got a good draw coming up. That game at Suncorp for Magic Round is on a Saturday afternoon, so 3 o'clock, so dry track. Like assuming weather's good. Yeah, I have zero interest in trading Ponga. I'm just going to ebb and flow, whatever it is. Like, yeah, okay, we know that these guys drop price. We know that it's inevitable when they start so high, they have to drop, but they get it back pretty quickly. So you just ride that. You just hope that the games that you that he doesn't do well, you haven't captained him or done something like. You just hope that you missed that sort of thing, and you just ride the 40s.
I don't really care about the price. My thinking behind selling him isn't price related. I couldn't care less if he drops price because we all know what you both said is very valid. I'm also talking about just points coming up and I'm looking at matchups and things like that. I know it's not the worst ever, but I looked at a few this afternoon, tonight and stuff like that. And I'm liking what I'm seeing from both Pappy and Gutho in the near future a lot better than I'm liking of what I'm seeing from Ponga. So
who do you have?
So why don't you have all three?
Yeah, I've got all three of them.
You got Ponga, Gutho, and Paps.
Yeah, I got Ponga, Gutho, Paps, and then in my halves I've got Hines, Cleary, Munster, and Campbell. Like I couldn't have anyone else. I'm done.
F me drunk. F me drunk.
So who do you have? You've obviously got Ponga.
I got last week. I had to put Campbell in my flex, so he's there sitting there in my flex. I've put him up this week to 5/8 because I'll get rid of Metcalf. He's done. I'm happy now that he's coming back into play. So see you later. I've got Ponga and I've got Iongi. I'm not selling Iongi. There's no way in the world he's about to just juice up. He's getting juicy. So that's the painful thing being an Iongi owner. Until obviously the weekend where he did crack the ton, which was brilliant, and now it's just going to be an absolute splurge. It's on. That probably did hurt me to start with. So
yes, it did. Yeah. It cost us. It cost us a good couple of $100 having Iongi and not having the extra fullback definitely cost us 200 points. Right. Yeah. So, and that's what we had to weigh up. And that was the decision, cash over points. And we went the cash with Iongi in the hope that he was going to rise. He finally did it. He finally got that try and he finally did something on the weekend in terms of Supercoach points. So, yeah, we'll ride that. But, yeah, I'm the same. I'm a Ponga Gutho owner with Iongi on the bench. I was going to a couple of weeks ago go Iongi to Pappenhausen. I'm kind of glad I didn't in the end. They're not too far away from points made. So I'm okay with that at this point in time. Just hoping that Iongi doesn't hurt me.
Yeah. I got off Iongi a few weeks ago for Gutherson.
Yeah.
And then I got off Arthur's for Pap. So I was just like, look, that's the thing I sort of, it's really good that he made that 100-pointer game because that's going to actually kickstart his cash gen because it hasn't really kicked off at all. Like all these other guys have, 350, 400 plus, and Iongi was just middling away. And I said, I don't want this. I know like the cash will come because he's definitely going to make it at 250 odd K. Like there's definitely money coming, but far out. I don't care anymore. Like I'm not going to wait for him to catch up. Like if I can make what I can make over 6 rounds with Iongi in 1 week with Gutho, but I just have to spend up to do it. And then it's just obviously I want the points. Like I can slow burn. My team value's through the roof. There's cash gen everywhere. Do you really need Iongi to be the guy that's making cash? Well, when he makes 100 points, you take. I was
going to say, if he keeps doing that at the moment, I'll be happy with him. I'll plug him and play him. I didn't play him on the weekend, which was the only time all year I haven't had him sitting in my flex as well. It was the story of my weekend. It was absolute, you know what. But anyway, I've palmed us off. I've taken us off course. Let's get back on course. Jesse, take it away. Let's start the pod part of the potty.
Hey, just first of all, can I jump in just with something?
Sure.
I'd like it. I'd like the listeners, because I've had someone message me in the last couple of days who have asked about pods and what this means, and there's a term antipod what this means, and I did answer it, but I kind of said, well, guess what? We're talking about this on the podcast. So, Jesse, let's use your immaculate brain. Do you want to just give everyone a really quick snapshot of what a pod is and what is the antipod as well?
Okay. Well, when you start talking pods, you're talking like players of difference. Obviously, when you're talking to that, you're talking about ownership, and specifically, these guys that we all have. We're all talking about. We've all got Ponga. You guys both have Iongi. They're very, very highly owned. When you're talking about trying to make rank and increase your overall position, it doesn't really help when your whole team is essentially built up of players that are 50+% owned, or there or thereabouts. You need these differentials to really throw you. They're really good for your head-to-heads. If you've got some random 3-4% owned guy, can turn the tides in a head-to-head comp. It can be the difference maker that gets you an extra 60-70 points a week that can make you jump rank. So you're looking at players of difference, ownership perspective, and really like you want to chase good value and stuff. And there definitely is in all these really high ownership guys. Like we had a very, very deep, wealthy talent pool of cashies this year, and 5 out of 7 of my center wings are probably 40+% owned, and they're all there for money. So a lot of people have them, and it's just a common thing. And you do have to have high ownership players across the board. You got to stay with the pack for certain groups, and especially when they're making coin. But for your premiums and a couple of the big dogs, you kind of do want to go a little rogue with a few of them and just have a bit of fun and have some guy that you just you bank on. Like Joel obviously went early before the season started on Stafford Toa, and he was super keen on the start. Obviously, Stafford Toa wasn't named to begin with, otherwise I'm sure he would have had him. But look at him now; like he's 4% owned, he's killing it. If anyone's got him, super lucky. Same as people that got on Sua Wong early days as well. He's gone through the roof now. Again, it might be a bit too late to jump on him. So the very low percentage that have him, they're the ones that are going to enjoy the points. So they're your pods. And that's for every position too. And there's certain positions that you don't really consider the whole pod play movement because it doesn't benefit anyone. Halfback, I would say in particular. Your Cleary, Hines, Hughes, and Cherry Evans on a stretch. They're the guys that you want. Anyone else, then you kind of just, your team's going to go backwards for it. But on the anti-pod side of things, you're going for players that you're going against the players that are super, super highly owned for a chance of trying to be different from the pack. And an example, I can give you 2 examples, and they're both in the front row. Payne Haas and Terrell May. They're both over 50% owned, 57 and 55% between the 2 of them. More than half of every Supercoach player has these 2 guys. For a good reason, they're the best 2 by a mile. If you are going to go on the antipod and go, oh, look, I'm not going to have a Terrell May. I'm going to put in Lindsay Smith, who's averaging, what's he averaging? 66, pretty much 66. Compared to Terrell May, that's a 15-point drop. You know what I mean? So it's a bit of a rough example, but there's a guy who's 4.7% owned. On the week that Terrell May, well, he hasn't done it yet, but if he scores a 50, I'm pretty sure his lowest score this year is like 79. If he scores a 50 and all of a sudden Lindsay Smith bangs a 90 or a 100-pointer out, then you're ahead of 55% of the competition on that one player. So there's your antipod, and you got to really pick and choose your antipods too. I think fullback's a good spot for it because there's a very heavy ownership in certain players like Ponga. I know Turbo was about 30% owned before he went down. You've got guys like Teddy, who's 4% owned. There's a guy, I'm going to go against the Ponga play at 50%. I'm going to bring in Teddy at 4%. That's incredible antipod because these guys they'll shift. The ownerships will shift, and when the prices change, people will jump on, and they go up and down. There's a lot of flows with them, but that's the kind of antipod that I would be looking at in general. Something that's not going to hinder your side. You're not going to be going against the pack just because of the sake of it. There's definitely got to be merit in not having a guy that's 50% owned. But I think you just have to make sure that these guys you're getting aren't super irrelevant. You need them to be doing some actually good things. And just time it well. It's usually about timing. If you can start them early and jump on them before the massive wave of movement of players jump on them at the same time. I got an Eli Katoa in round 3, I think, when they come back from their bye. Very low ownership. No one was really talking about him. Now look at, it's round 6 and everyone's mass trading in Eli Katoa. So I got 3 rounds of his points prior. So that things like that. you pick your guys early if you can. Obviously, you got to have foresight, but a lot of them will tend to pay off. And then when you see those big weeks, they come through. Freaking hell, man! It almost depresses you a little bit because you're like, God, there's my pod, and now he's 15%, 20% owned. So yeah, it's going to happen regardless if they're playing well. So you got to constantly adjust. But they're the pods, and there's the antipods in a roundabout way.
Thanks, mate.
That's all right.
Now, into the pods.
Let's talk about hookers.
Oh God, favorite topic. So pods on this one. So we're going to go straight through. I've sort of lifted my bracket up on ownership a little higher, but actually looking at the players that I've chosen, there's pretty much everyone's below like 5% in a way, 5 or 7%. So in the coming weeks with our cash gen, I think it's going to be a good idea to start looking at these dudes. I haven't taken into consideration State of Origin, the buy rounds, and all that side of stuff. Probably should, to be fair. Apologies, but look into it and just make sure you're getting guys too. It's a good chance to start. I think it's a bit too early to buy plan, but it's not a bad idea to just have a look ahead and see if these dudes are going to be there for your buys, because it'll make it handier anyway. Save you a bit of trading down the line, but. Players 7% and less. A lot of our cashies are peaking soon, or getting to that limit where you're like, I can happily move these guys on. Their break evens pretty much what they're scoring, and you're going to want to trade them to someone. So here's some bloody good options. Hooker, Wade Egan, currently the number one averaging hooker in the comp at this stage, averaging 74.8, just absurd. 4.8% ownership is 608k, so he's got incredible value for his current average. He's very underpriced. His break even is currently 46, so going off what he's scoring, geez, he's probably going to make 20k, give or take, this week. So it's not a massive price jump, but again, the ownership is really low, and Hooker's been a bit of a shit show for the top dogs. The cheapies have been flying, but the top dogs have been plummeting in coin, so he looks like the best one. I remember touching on Wade Egan early days when we were talking about the hookers. It might have been the pod preseason where I looked into his numbers, and for starting, I think the first 6 rounds for the last 3 years running, including this one, Wade Egan has been the number one hooker. He tends to fly out of the gates, average 70 plus, and then he tapers off quite hard. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. But a lot of that's based around injury and concussion. So if he can stay fit, man. Geez, he's a solid option.
I think it's a different realm this year too, because he's playing with Harris Tavita and Metcalf, who are both ball running halves, not playmaking halves. So the playmaking has shifted to Wade Egan and straight out of the play of the ball, and so that's why he's getting what he's doing and doing what he's scoring the points and things that he's getting, because he is the play setter, he is the set maker. He makes the decisions at first, and then Metcalf and Harris Tavita finish it off with a run or something like that. So the key for Wade Egan is exactly what you just said is, I think based off what I've seen in the gameplay and the eye test, what I've got from him this year, he's enormous, and he's pretty much a must get in the hooker spot. If you don't have him, if you want to trade someone in the hooker role, providing, and it's on the preface that we know that he's got a really soft head. We know, unfortunately, he does have concussion in him, and he does have injury in him, unfortunately. So what you're hoping is that doesn't happen this year. But he was my number one target for this.
And you look at the hookers, I'll move on from the hookers in a second, but the top 2 averaging, and I will touch on actually the second player, because I do have him on my list too for pods. Sam Verrills. When you look at Wade Egan's average, he's averaging 74.8. The second hooker in average is 62.3. It's a massive drop off, and like to see that, almost 13 points difference in an average after 4 or 5 rounds. That's huge. But Sam Verrills is the second highest averaging hooker after 3 games, and he's 0.7% owned, and he's cheap. He's 4.
In there.
Plath is in there. Have I got something? Oh, I've got the ownership down still. Sorry, fellas. Yeah, Plath 66.8. So it's only a smidge higher anyway. So it's 8 points. So a little bit different. But yeah, look, even with that, Sam Verrills, he's a little bit cheaper than Tom Starling, who is pretty popular at the moment at 22%. 0.7. And we tend to see it as well. Like Verrills does the same. He does a pretty good job, but he's got the same, issues as Egan. Like he can find an injury from nothing. And that's probably why these guys' ownerships are so low to begin with, is because people just kind of scared off them. But if you've got the cojones for it and they stay fit, like no one's going to jump on. So, yeah.
I really like the Verrills play. He's on my list as well. 463k, break even of 16. He is averaging 62.3, like you said, through 3 games. He's getting the minutes. I was worried about what might happen with Verrills, and I have just lost the name. Joel, who's the
Randall,
yeah. He comes off the front row. The big forward that comes off the bench that can also play the hooker role, which is what you just said, Chris Randall. So he's not stealing minutes off Verrills either in that capacity. So Verrills has played the 3 games. Verrills got injured. I think was a concussion, and as to why he didn't play the last game,
I think he had a hip injury.
So he had a minor injury, missed a week.
It was nothing.
Randall started at hooker. He's come back. He's fit and firing. It's Randall. It's Verrills' spot. So I really like the player Verrills. It is ballsy, but I just at that price at 463 with that break even and what he's doing with the Titans run, like I really like what they've got. They've got the Dragons, the Raiders, and Cowboys the next 3 weeks. I think Verrills is a very good play.
Yeah. We'll move on to front row, but I just noticed as well, just a quick one of your boys, Trav, Blake Brayley, he's gone down a bit in coin, 483. He's 4.4% owned as well. So, if you just want to get a guy who's that price and just plug him in for a 50, there's a couple of those guys that can do it. But yeah, as it seems at the moment, Wade Egan is far and away the best option. Front row, I've only got 2. I'm only really picking 2 for these boys at the same time as well. But look, this is the year for front rowers. We've all got, I would like to think that we've all got Haas, May, Tino, Horsburgh. That's a very standard template option for the front row, and even for the second rowers too. I've moved both Horsburgh and Tino into my second row because I just want more front rowers because they're just flying. But there's a couple guys in the front row that are killing it at the moment, super low ownership, and that's probably because everyone else has those other 4. Joey Tarpany is a player that I love. I have him every single year, usually towards the origin period and the end of the season when he really comes into it and he starts offloading a lot. He's been flying straight out of the gates and he's killing it at the moment. He's averaging 78 points, and it's pretty much off the back of like 2 91s and a lower game in round 1. So where he got, I think did he get binned in that game? So that would have been a deduction. So he would have scored.
That's why he got suspended.
And he got suspended. So, out of sin binning as well in 3 games, averaging 78, which could be much higher. So, he's done what he hasn't done usually and start the season incredibly well. His ownership is 2.4%. To be fair, I don't know if people are really going to jump on him this season because front row is so locked in. But I think you can just have so many of them. So, and that's the thing too. How many Raiders can you have? Like, you got Tarpany, Horsburgh. A lot of people are going to have probably a Nicholson or a Starling or something. Like you realize you got 4 or 5 of them towards the end. So, but they're all flying, man. The Raiders are doing well. Tarpany's always a mainstay. He's always a top 3 or 4 guy at the end of the season. So we'll see how he travels, by the season's end. But Trav, I know you're a big Tarpany fan as well. You probably got him on your list.
He is my number 1 target. 681k, as you said, 27 break even. Played through 3 games, is getting really good minutes, which we expect. He's the captain, so he's playing 53 minutes on average. He's only owned at 2.4%. Like I don't know if you said that, but 2.4%. He's a freak.
Yeah,
he's a literal definition of a freak. He's taken his game to a whole nother level this year with the captain on his head. I don't like that. I mean, I didn't agree too much with the 2-week suspension, to be fair. So I think he got screwed there a little bit. But, and anything could have happened for that. And what he could be like. I really want to get him. He's going to be my 3rd or 4th. I'm actually tempted. I won't do it, but I'm tempted to try and move Horsburgh to Tarpany and do something different. Tarpany's definitely high on my list.
Yep. Yeah, and the 27 break even as well. And even with a 27 break even, traded in at 0.4% he's just not on the radar. He'll keep scoring massive points and he'll keep doing it. And, he won't play through Origin or any of these things. We're going to lose all 4 of our front rowers come Origin, I reckon. Between Haas, May, Tino, Horsburgh, all 4 of them are gone. So might be a good idea to jump off one of them and get onto one of these guys just to fill that number. But
to be fair, Tarpany and the Raiders, so they play straight out now. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They have the bye 15. Then play 16, 17, 18. They have the bye 19. So it's actually a really nice draw. So, I mean, you can get Tarpany at any stage, but really you're not going to get Tarpany this week. If you don't get him this week, you're going to be paying $700K more for him.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You're going to have to pay, $700K for him,
and you'll be
missing
anyway. You're missing the 3 games that you really want to have him for: Para, Gold Coast, Dolphins, because then they've got Melbourne and the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I just think regardless of matchup, I think he's solid. He's going to get through work in the hard games, and in the easy ones, he might go over. So, yeah, I think he's a fantastic buy, man. Honestly, I want to try and find a way in, but even for like a Nafahu White or something, if you've got options there, he's 550. It's not too far away for a seasoned keeper. I'll jump into my number 2 now. There's a lot of options in front row still because there's freaking so many of them killing it this season, and you just can't, unfortunately, have all of them. But one that has really impressed me quite a lot. He's 3rd on the overall list. Shout out to Dan Saifidi, he's killing it too. But Lindsay Smith, he's an absolute goer. He's a freak, man. I don't know what his Origin prospects look like too, because he's probably worth a look in. But he's 597K, so he's about just under 100K less than Tarpany, averaging, to be fair, it's 13 points less than him. 4.7% owned, but he's looked so good every time I've seen him play. And you can make the same comment for a lot of the other guys: Fisher Harris, Couchman. All these dudes are all killing it. Real low ownership, but it's such an odd position at the moment to try and fill voids for. Who's the last fella you've got on yours, man?
I just want to give a shout out to Daniel Saifidi. I should have another one of the ones that I should have trusted my gut. I said in the preseason that Saifidi's a watch. Dolphins wanted him. He was a target trade buy for them. He plugged a really nice hole for him. And I said to her, I did say anything above 50 minutes, and this guy's almost must get, and he's putting up 67.6 points through 5 games on average. Right, he's 570K with a break even of 13. He's only owned at 1.4%. He's already risen 140K. So whoever that 1.4% is, you've got good points, you've got good money making. I sort of predicted it, but we all knew, like we all wanted to go the May route, and so we did May Horsburgh, and then we all shuffled our way to get to Haas in. You certainly didn't go wrong with Saifidi. I think he's got the minutes locked in. I still think he's a good get at 570K.
Yeah, well, 570. To be fair, don't kick yourself for not considering Saifidi coming into the start of the season with the options that we had. He was 430K to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Going off a traditional average of his, last season he averaged 44. Too, as well, his last season, the Knights, he was kind of on the way out anyway, but it was a 1 point per minute. This season, you look at his last couple of games, it's like 1.5, 1.7. So he's just excelling. I don't know. We'll see how long-term maintainable it is. He hasn't really done this before. But man, you can't knock it. He looks so lively. He's scored tries. He's freaking everywhere. So they've got a good player with him for sure. Like they've really signed a goodie with him. So anyone else in the front rows that you sort of want to touch on at all, man? There's freaking
that's more than enough. It's not certainly not an area that I'll be putting too much focus in as a pod.
Yeah. Second row, I've got 2 really appealing ones, and we did kind of touch on them a little bit last week, but I've got in there Hudson Young and Britton Nakora. These 2 dudes are always in the top, what would you say? At least, like obviously in the top 10, probably in the top 6, 7 2RFs by the end of the season when it comes to overall and average points. But both of them are looking at 3.2 for Young and 3.3% ownership. Absolutely not getting considered. And you look at the averages for him. Hudson Young, you got some good stats on him a little bit the other day, I think, or last week, Trav, but he's averaging 72.6. How many tons has he had in the last year and a bit?
We found 6. Yeah, so he's got the most tons by anyone in a 2RF. So, there was a chat, and there's a chat around that, Hudson Young is just Mystic, ever consistent, doesn't have that try in him, doesn't have those big scores. Well, he's actually got more big scores than anyone else in the competition in the last 12 months. So, yeah, that argument's gone. I did do a write-up on this on Sunday morning whilst I had my Sunday morning coffee, and wanted to do it after all the updates and everything had come through, and I sort of unpacked this a fair bit. I mean, Hudson Young, to me, is the most underrated player in the competition. Like, okay, I understand he's picked for Origin. I get that. But he's just that no one talks about him in the realm of elite second rowers. And he is 100% as an elite second rower. He's owned at 3.2%. He's got a break-in of a 60. He's at 688K, just to remind everyone of those figures. It's just, elite numbers for a dude who's taken his game to a whole nother level, who has now found that scoring touch too. That he, to me, like, I'm considering, and to talk around your antipod chat that you were mentioning before, 2RF can be a really good place to antipod. So many people are getting Eli Katoa in this week. This might be a good antipod play. No Eli Katoa and picking someone like Hudson Young, or going down and saving 60K. Now, at this point in time, Nikora 620K. He's got a break even at 62, and he averages 10 points less than Hudson Young at 62. But this is like that time. This screams to me like what happened last year, right? When Nikora starts to sort of bottom out, which he's kind of getting to that point, and then he just explodes. And Nikora remembers how to play rugby league, and he starts putting on almost 100 points a game, right, and just dominates the competition. It dumbfounds me that Nikora is averaging 62.8 with a very low base in a team that's underperforming, and that's still what he's doing. Yep. When that team starts to hum, what's he going to do? So, like, I think that's something to consider, and to thinking on and touching on sort of what you were talking about before around when you get someone in at the right time, and you've got to have some foresight and some cojones to make those moves. But this is a really prime Nikora moment, right? He's not going to play Origin. He's at that 620K. You're saving more than 100 and something K. How much is Katoa? 750?
750,
Yeah, so you're saving 130K. Like, this is a good, it's to me, that's a good play. I do not hate that moment or that move. But I actually like Hudson Young better. But yeah, the two of them, I think much of a muchness at this point in time.
Yeah. Joel, you got anything on these, please?
No, not really. I'm listening and basically agreeing with pretty much everything you're saying so far. So
yeah,
my mouth's just watering it this weekend. You got Ola Kawadu playing, and you got Nikora playing. So how good's that going to be?
Big time. Just a quick one on these two as well. And like, look, I love these two players. Like, I know I've had Hudson Young in drafts before, but I've never had him in Classic. But Nikora I've had pretty much every season as well, in both almost. So, obviously with Young, he's averaging that 72.6, but he's got a base of 49. So his base numbers are nuts, and they're really solid. He's getting 4.4 tackle busts a game. He's getting 1.4 offloads. He scored 3 tries this season, so he's flying. With Nikora, his base is actually quite low. It's lower than what it has been in previous years, but he's been scoring tries to keep his average like way up there at the moment. So he's looking at currently this season, his base is 40. Last year it was 49, so it's quite a drop off. And his average at the end of the season, it was 6 points more. But when you start to look at the tries that he scored, he's already scored 5. Like, he scored 9 last season, and he scored 5, and we haven't even started round 6 yet. So, look, man, if he can keep that try scoring rate going, but then he can just increase his base to what he has traditionally done for years and years in the past, you're getting him way unders at the moment. So, I love both of them as an option, and I think you get them in, and you can just comfortably ride both of them through pretty much the entire season. So, good stuff. Have you got anyone else in the second row, man?
I just want to quickly talk about one person. It's almost like a he who should not be named kind of name at this point in time, but it's referring to my love for Harry Potter. But hopefully you've You all clicked onto that, but anyways.
Yes, sir. It's Voldemort in the
Yeah,
2RF.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, David Fafita.
Oh,
So 650k, averaging 50, has a break even of 89, right? He's playing 52 minutes. He just started last week and got 65. We've sort of been waiting for him to get these minutes and even start, or if he wasn't going to start, still get those minutes. He just got it. He got a crappy score. I think it was like 42 or something on the weekend. We're going to flock to Fafita at some point. I can see it happening very soon. And as he starts to get more and more healthier and the role starts to play out better for him, things are going to play out for him. I'm not saying go and get him. Actually, I'm telling you, don't go and get him. But I think you just keep him on the radar because I don't see that he's going to get his break even this week. So he's going to get a little bit cheaper, but I think you're going to watch him play even better again this week. And then he's someone you sort of starting to look at. He was the only one I'm sort of trying to, I'm pulling out as a pod play or something to keep an option for.
Fafita looks like a busted ass right now.
Yeah.
His dead set looks like a shadow of a man that used to be a gun. I will instantly trade him in the moment it looks right. But at this stage, dead set, not even remotely on my radar. If he can get Dave Fafita in the fives, like even like a 580, which he's not far off, he's 650 at the moment. If he just keeps coming off the bench, playing these bloody, 60 odd minutes, scoring 40, 50 points, which I don't expect him to continue. It's very unlike him. But if he does, holy shit, I don't care if he looks bad. If he's in the 550s, he's instantly in my side, and I'm just going to pray he gets good again. Because, I'd like realistically, probably not going to get selected for Origin. So you're going to have Dave Fafita through the Origin period when you lose a couple of the big dogs in the 2RF. That could be the ticket, and by then he's probably going to be much cheaper. So that's kind of where I do it, man. But honestly, I feel sorry for the people that started with him on the round one buy. Just going, I'm just going to jump the gun, get the weapon for Feeder, and he's just straight up shit the bed. His base this season is 36. That's cheapy center wing base numbers. When you're talking like this is meant to be the best second rower in the comp in a way, but it's not good. The numbers are not good.
Not
Yet.
surprised by that, are we? He's not really a worker. He never has been.
No, but base includes a lot of stats. He's not doing a great deal.
As I said, and as you sort of surmised, he's not on my radar now, but he's certainly someone on my watch list, and I'm just watching eagerly just to see, because if he keeps getting that 65 minutes, I think the points will start to come as he starts to find his feet and what happens in play style and stuff like that. So, he's certainly on my watch list. Halfbacks.
100%. There's only one halfback on the watch list, and it's obviously when it comes to ownership, you look at the 50 plus of Cleary and whatever else is going on. But Jesus, we saw a good game from him last week. Jerome Hughes, 2.8% owned, currently averaging 71.7. This guy was an absolute Adonis last season when we needed him the most, and up he popped. And it looks like, honestly, he's come back from a broken hand after a week, and he's done that. He scored what he scored in that game. What was it, 93 points with a broken hand after 1 week off. That's insane.
He had a broken hand, but this wasn't just a broken hand. Like most people with a broken hand just put on some plaster and off they go. He had full surgery.
Yeah.
So he's had full surgery, 1 week out, comes out and plays and scores a 90 odd against Manly in a drubbing that we no one predicted. The dude's a freak, man. Owned at 2.8%. People are flocking to him this week. I get it. He's not going to be 2.8%. He'll be much higher than that. He makes a really good case to chuck in your flex position with those points that he's getting. If you're running Cleary and Hines already, if you've got Cleary and Hines, I wouldn't be trading either of them right now. I'd be trying to, and you want to get a Hughes, I'd be putting him. I think you just chuck him in the flex and have all three of them, and then shift things around when it comes to Origin, because Cleary will play Origin.
He's
He's a freak, like clearly.
He's so good. Yeah, you make a really good point too, because I have seen a bit of discussion around it. If you have I know like there's a lot of people. I got Hines in 2 weeks ago, and I'm obviously not looking at going anywhere for him. But Hines owners from the start of the season, for whatever reason, are getting itchy palms, and they kind of want off him.
He's
Would
still
you
averaging
trade?
72.
Yeah, I know. Like it's just it's a bit of a nothing trade. Like you've got bigger things if you're looking at trading Hines to Hughes, but would you do it? Hines to Hughes?
Yeah,
Mm.
like as in I've got to have two of the three, and I'm
Oh
only
yeah,
going to have it in the halfback spot. If I have to have two of the three, and I have to have them in my halfback spot because I'm not going to put them in flex for whatever odd reason, I would take Hughes over Hines.
but if you already had Hines,
If I already had Hines, and I'm sold on getting Hughes. I'm putting him in the flex. I'm not trading Hines.
yeah. See, that's pretty much where it's at. And like, I suppose if you've got Nyongi in your flex, or you can move that stuff around, that's a really good opportunity to do something cool. Because I honestly, I still think, and Melbourne players are going to be very highly owned after probably the next 2 or 3 weeks. I think Hughes will be the lowest. Um, I don't know if people have really space for him at this stage. Maybe they do. Like maybe you've got a Humphreys, and instead of going anywhere else, you can go straight to Hughes. Like that's a really good option. And it's going to keep the ownership quite low. But yeah, I think there's definitely merit in a straight up Hughes play in any side. But it's just you don't want to be trading a gun out to get him in there. It's just a weird one because I think he still does have a low game in him here and there, but God, he looked good. Um, I've really only got the one player in the half position, to be fair, as a pod because it's such a limited position. But you were on Hughes as well.
Yep, I'm on Hughes as well. I have literally no other interest in anyone else as a pod in the halfback position.
Cool.
Shout out to my boy the Fog, just doing great things, mate.
He is doing great things, but those great things are like 60 every week.
At 60 points. Yeah, when the
Great
others are
things.
when the others are averaging over 70.
Yeah, and even
Great
Hines, that
things.
doesn't look like he's done anything at all, gets 50.
Still
It's
still
like,
averages 72.
yeah, there's levels, man. It's a shame. He's a good player, just doesn't really translate. You know what?
Mate, at the
If there
moment
was if there was kicking points,
he has scored more points than Cleary and Hughes at the moment. So you're doing great things, Foggy, overall wise. Well done, mate. Keep
he's played
kicking
5
things.
games, hasn't
Keep
he?
going, my boy.
It's
Keep
because
Yeah,
going, my
it's
boy.
yeah.
played 5
Hey,
games.
he still scored more.
Oh, that's exactly right. That's where the points are.
Thank you.
Killing it. Yeah, I was just saying, if they had like kick meter points in the game,
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, dude, there'd be so many points. Even just divided by like how fantasy do it, like divided by what is it, 5? Or I can't even remember anymore. They keep changing it, 33 or
oh,
something. It's just
Him and
points. It's just
Katoa.
points.
Damn.
Yeah, they just send it. Anyone got a kicking game, just rake in the points.
I'm getting too excited. Move on. I can't keep
5'8".
talking about this.
5'8". So 5'8" is a weird one. I've real. It's kind of hard to pick anyone who's like a pod number in 5'8" because it's barely hard enough to find a relevant 5'8" if its name's not Munster or Brown, or yeah, Munster Brown or
Campbell.
Campbell. So there is a couple that I was looking at. I really like the look of Matt Burton at 2.6. Obviously, he's injured. That's the reason it's quite low. But even before his injury, I don't know what his ownership was. It could have dropped off quite a lot with that one. But I've got one player on there, and he's been named this week. There's a lot of talk in preseason, a lot of speculation about his role, everything else. Blaze Talangi. He's a dual center wing 5'8". He's priced at 562. Hasn't had a price change yet because he hasn't had any game time yet. But he's averaging 63. Panthers have been getting whacked. His ownership's 1.2%. If he can just come in, they get a comfortable win this week against the Finns, probably. We'll see how they go. The Dolphins, have had their struggles as well. I reckon he keeps the spot, personally, if it's a good game. And, at 562 in the Panthers side with a dual position like that, like I really like what he has on the plate. Like I think he's got a lot of good stuff going on. And we know the player is too. Like next to Cleary, it could be anything. But that's where I'm sitting. At the moment it's quite early days, and it's a bit of a risky one to run within a 5'8" spot. But that's the whole point of the pods. You know, what I mean, you got to have that risk. You got to roll the dice a little bit. I think you could do much worse than rolling dice on Blaze Talangi, to be honest with you. And if he does keep the spot going into next week, his break even currently is 53. Like he had a good game. It was higher than what he was priced at. I reckon he gets over 50 again against the Finns. I think at the end of the day, by the round after this, if he's named next week, he'll be going up in coin. His break even will be lower for sure. So,
Well, he scored 63 against the Storm, so it wasn't like he played an easy team. He got
yeah,
thrown into it once, obviously, what happened with Cleary and stuff, but he held his own and he looked good. And I agree with you. I don't think – I think this will be the way Penrith now go moving forward. They're obviously 1-4. They can't be mucking around anymore. They need to pick their best players and play them. And I believe Tangi is one of their better players, especially in that 5'8" position at the moment, and needs to start building that combination with Cleary.
yeah, I agree.
But at the same time, Cleary wasn't playing, and we all know when Cleary plays, it's his team, and he'll probably get a lot of those points, if not all of those points. So see how the balance goes.
Yeah, of course. Trav, who's yours?
I have no interest in finding a pod in the 5'8".
You got to give him something. Got to give us something.
You want one? All right, I'll give you one.
Just one.
Just one, right? I'm going to give you one, and only because I haven't even written this up, but I'm going to just talk rubbish here, just to fill in the spot. But Thomas Dearden
has to be Dearden. I was looking at that spot. I'm like, if it's not Dearden, then what's he doing?
I was doing nothing, literally.
Yeah, I know.
But let's go. So Thomas Dearden, 510K, averages 43, right? But let's think about this. In the last 2 weeks, he's got a 91 and a 55. It just so coincides with the fact that the Cowboys have actually played better, won a couple of games. Amazing what happens when your boys turn up and start playing well. He's owned at 4%. He's lost 87K. He's got a break even of 5. He's looked really good the last 2 weeks. So, I mean, I'm not saying buy him. I'm not going to do it myself. You've asked me to give you a number, but I will give you a name. I've given you one. He's definitely someone I'm going to watch, though. He's definitely someone I'm watching very, very closely, because, you know, if they continue to keep playing well, it's going to be on the back of what he's doing, and he's shown the last 2 weeks that when they do play well, he's playing well, and he's going to get score points. So, yeah, I'll take that.
That's fair. But yeah, at the end of it all, when it comes to the 5'8" position, I just want to say right now, it's Cameron Munster and Jaden Campbell, and very, very, very daylight ranging 5'8".
Well, I would say daylight. I would say daylight.
You can put Galvin and Brown. Galvin and Brown are both great, obviously, but it's just they're so far and away the ones that you look at. Like it's almost like the positions that are pretty much semi-locked in. That's the only player outside of the ones that are at the top there that I would be interested in would be honestly Blaise Salungi, and it's because he's got that center as well. And I like his price. So yeah, there is options there, but again, it's one of those antipod sort of moves. Are you going to just do this for the sake of it, or are you going to get the guys that are actually proven killing it? So yeah, stuff going on in the 5'8s. Center wing.
Just a quick one for you. As you're talking about that, I know you say it's clear as day, things like that. I'm not as set. I just had a quick look at something. Dylan Brown, I think, is being slept on a little bit. I know his ownership stat at the moment is
9.3. And we were talking about dudes under 7, so that's why we didn't bring him up. But yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying in terms of saying it's daylight between. I don't think it is. I think it's when you compare him with, say, JC, for instance, Campbell, I don't think there's that much difference at all. Jaden Campbell's numbers so far this year, 46, 117 granted, 63 and a 52. Now, Dylan Brown in a well-beaten team where he's getting criticised for, apart from on the weekend, not even wanting to be there or look like he wants to be there, a 73, 34 granted, crap, 61, 56, and a 93. And he's 100K cheaper than Campbell. Like, if I was getting someone in this week, I would not be going Campbell. I'd be going Dylan Brown.
For the 100K difference? Yeah, for 100K difference, yeah, 100% too. Like, that's solid. And when you're looking at, like, the duels between the two of them, I would probably prefer to have a dual halfback 5'8" than I would a dual fullback 5'8". I don't think Jaden Campbell's really going to get utilised as a fullback at all. Where Brown you can interchange as a half, it's really handy. For that reason, yes. And like Dylan Brown is definitely unders from what he can do. It's for the same reason that I really wanted off all the Eels guys. I'm like, it's risky and they don't look good. And it's not to say the Titans look much better. But I think the upside potential for Campbell, the fact that he's running the side and he does it well enough, Brown doesn't seem to have that in him, and he kicks as well, which is another option. Is that worth 100k extra? I suppose you put it together and you decide. But I look at my 5/8 at this stage with Campbell and Munster, and I'm just like, man, I'm very, very keen and set to just not touch this position anymore. Like, I'd be very happy to let this one ride. But look, if you had Brown and Munster, or if you had Brown and Galvin, or you had any of the combination of them, like, I don't think you're really doing bad. There's worse options out there.
Yep.
Definitely worse options. So, yeah, you could still have Metcalf.
I do.
Trade him to Brown. Sorted.
Oh, I'm getting rid of him. Getting rid of him.
That's it.
Centers.
Centers. So this is a huge one. There's friggin' so many at the moment. And I think when it comes to actually trading these pods or trading to these guys, we've got a lot. You know, you've got Toya, who's middling away at the moment, probably the slowest burner out of all of the good little cheapies that we've got. Purdue's flying. He's got cash to make probably the next 3 weeks minimum. And I'm almost looking at Purdue like another Kyle Hero, to be honest with you. His numbers are fantastic. So he's looking real good. Not really pushing the agenda to trade out. Shibasaki's another one, obviously, that we've all pretty well got. And if you don't have him, you probably should have had him a couple of weeks ago. He's got money to make for a couple of weeks. I'd say he might be even looking at a trade next week, because that's when his price will pretty much level out. But he's going to be over what that 500k, 400k. Oh, how much actually Shibasaki is going to be? He'll be around the 500. Let's just call it that.
He's 4 now. And he's got a break even at -2.
Yeah, geez, so he's going to be more than 500. It's really good. So he's another one in there. Tamale's another one. You've obviously got Jenkins, who I'm freaking keeping forever because he's fantastic. Jesse Arthurs, if you still got him, there's a few, and we've all really got him, and there's a couple ready to go. Where do you go? You know what I mean? Like, you want to look at these dudes, you want to make productive moves with them, and get some big, basically the elites. But the problem is with the center wings that I've found, and stop me if I'm wrong, but there's no one screaming, putting their hand up, saying I am the center wing target to buy. Not a single player. Garrick, obviously, we've all got him, and we knew for his price and what he can do. He's a great option, and he's a season keeper anyway, but his ownership's really high, as always. A lot of the big guys, especially Holmes and Lomax, go and swapping clubs with each other. Everyone's a little bit wary of them, and they're both doing well. I really like the Holmes move. He's pretty much banging out 70s for nothing. And we did the write-up on Lomax, and he's looking good. His base numbers are higher than ever, really, as far as it goes. And he's moved to the wing. He's doing all this. Now he's got a fractured foot. So it's like we almost had something, and now they're gone. So, Carrazza's been injured. Toto's been injured. Herbie's already, he was already 700 plus to begin with. And, that's in itself is going to turn him off. And I know he's a guy that you've got on your list. If you wanted to touch on Herbie real quick, Trav.
Yeah, so Herbie is definitely on my list. He's my number one pod target, 698k, averages 66.4. He's got a break even of 91, so he's not something you must buy this week, particularly when they with their matchup and who they play this weekend. Although they're not their reputation isn't as big this year, and that but he's owned at 4.2%. Herbie is a freak. Like, he's been actually playing really well. He's getting the runs, he's getting the meters, he's getting the touches, he's in the right spots. It's just that, unfortunately, it's coincided with the Dolphins sucking and the way that they've been playing. I think that won't happen for the Dolphins all year. The Dolphins will get a lot better. I mean, they had a good win last weekend. It'll continue to rise. It'll come through Herbie. Herbie will be a freak. I'd like to get him now. I can't, because I'm going to do a couple other things. I'm praying that he doesn't get anywhere near his 91 this week, because if that doesn't, he's gonna drop again, and then I'll be looking at him very keenly next week. He's a beast. He was the number one center in 2024. No, Holmes was. I
think he was number 3.
Top 3. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he'll be there again by the end of the season, easily.
Oh yeah, hands down. Yeah, and
he's averaging 66.4 in a team that's been playing poorly, and he hasn't played very well, and yet he's still got 66. Like, that's still very good.
Yeah, his base numbers are higher than they were last season. He's basing 42.4. Last year they were 38. So yeah, with a 74 average last year too, though, he was obviously, tackle busting. He was banging 5.5 out on average per game last season. This year, 6.4 tackle busts per game. That is, I haven't seen the numbers throughout the entire season. I'm pretty sure there's only like Teddy who does more than that, because that's actually ridiculous. 6.4 tackle busts a game is huge points. 2.2 offloads this season. He's had 1 try. So yeah, doing good things, man. And as always, he never really has a bad game. And that's why my team is called What's a Farn Worth? About
I'll
700k. So
to answer the question, this is not where I was going to go, but you were just saying before that is there a center that's screaming out that I've got to be picked? And there was until he got injured, and when he gets back from injury, I will find a way to put him in my team, and that's Iro.
I was going to say, yeah, that's got to be Iro, isn't it?
But you're not getting him now because he's injured. But to answer that question or that point that you were talking about, is there a center that's screaming out, pick me, pick me? Yeah, he is. He's screaming out, pick me. And before that, there was Dylan Lucas. So he's certainly someone I'll be getting back. I'll be getting in about 3 weeks when he gets back, around 9 or 10. So yeah, he's another one sort of screaming out, pick me, pick me. Unfortunately, got injured, but yeah. I'll be working my way. My decision in the center wings over the next couple of weeks will be decisions built around how I get Lucas and Iro into my team by round 10 when they return.
Yeah. Honestly, if by that time, and like you start looking at these dudes, and to be fair, these are 4 guys that I would have on my targets as well. It would be between Herbie, obviously, because he's fantastic. Iro is another one. Karaz.
Yep.
And
keeping Garrick.
Yeah, and pretty much keeping Garrick. And if you can get Lucas in your 2RF, then you're laughing as well, because then if something happens, you bring him down. You've got plenty of options. But between that, like as a set of 4, God, that would be so nice to have. And then you're still excluding guys like Val Holmes and Lomax and Toto and all these other big dudes as well. So yeah, there's a lot of talent, but again, at the moment, they're all sort of going down in price. So it's nice, and all of our cashies are kind of catching up to them. I've got Jacob Karaz in there at the moment. Obviously, he has been injured the entire season until last week. He's come back. He scored 61 points, I believe.
He was a late in, dude.
He was a late in.
He was a late in and goes and gets 61.
I know. After a chronic back injury that's kept him out for basically all of preseason and 4 rounds leading up to it. How many? Yeah, insane. Big numbers, offloaded like nothing else. They dominated, held him to 0, defensively good.
Clean
Everything
shit.
about him is perfect. You can't knock him. He's had 1 game, and I already want him in my side. Currently at 0.9% ownership. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
That'll skyrocket next week. That will skyrocket.
Yeah, it will. Hands down, 100% will. I think what would happen, honestly, if the Dogs didn't have a bye this week, I reckon one of the biggest trades would be Garrick to Karaz. I think a lot of people would jump off the break even. They'd just be scared and just go, look, I'm going to save 100k and get the best pretty much the best winger in the comp for 100. And you know what? I would look at it personally.
To be fair, if the Bulldogs didn't have a bye this week, I'd probably go Marju to Karaz.
Yeah, that's another. It's 150k more, but you find the money for it, hands down. But yeah, Karaz is so high on my radar. I reckon I'll have him, if not next week, the week after. I'm not messing around with that one this year. It took me way too long to get on him. Yeah, geez, I can't sing his praises enough. I feel like I do it every season too. So yeah, absolute gun. Got to have him. Another guy I've got up there in the real low ownership, to be fair. Well, yeah, it's a bit obviously higher than Karaz, lower than everything else. 6.4%, Valentine Holmes. Sort of briefly touched on him. A lot of these big guys are losing coin. He's dropped 81.1k already, averaging 64.5. And to be fair, compared to what he's done traditionally, it's a little underwhelming on the eye test. But the left edge of the Dragons is humming. I would say a lot of it's to do with Val Holmes and obviously Gutherson being there too. Tuipulotu is just a beneficiary of those 2 guys being in the side, but I really like what Holmes is doing. And if he can just casually walk himself to 70 points each week, because round 1, he scored 70, and then round 2 was a 40 points. If that's the floor, it's the floor. That's not bad. 71 round 3, 77. Round 4 and then round 5. So it's just a casual 70 points. And he hasn't really had too much to do outside of that. He's kicking, he's doing well, he's playing his role. and he's just awesome, just a 70. So yeah, at 700k or 703, it's kind of the Valentine Holmes that we sort of expected. He just hasn't really slowed down. He's just not done his 100-pointer yet. I really like it. I think you're locking in one of the safest center wings you could possibly get for 700. It's pretty much what you're going to pay for him, regardless. I don't think he dips too much further than that. Yeah, what are your
And they've
thoughts
got
on
a
Mo?
pretty decent draw coming up as well. So even if he does get selected for Origin, let's say, you're still going to benefit from a pretty decent draw. They got the Titans this week, obviously. Manly at 4 points, but who knows with everything that's happening at Manly at the moment, that could be a decent matchup for them. The Roosters, Tigers, Warriors, the Broncos, then they're going to a bye, which will be pretty much Origin anyway. So get a nice little time with him, and if he's getting around that 70-point mark and just gets that couple of tries, which against some of those oppositions, you'd probably favour him to do so for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm into it. Do you reckon he plays Origin?
Yep.
Yeah, I think he does.
That's
I
fair
think
enough.
he does. I
It's
think
still a
that's
while away anyway,
it's
so
not
it's
not an
enough.
Origin pod, but we'll go into that another time. But
Yeah.
I think he does.
Yeah, fair. Trav, you got?
Have I got anyone else? You mean?
Yeah.
No, nothing that I want to bring up there.
Okay. Well, I will mention one more player, and I'll probably, give this one over to Joel, but Stafford Toa is a player that it came up a little bit in the preseason about, who's the guy to go. And he started this year at, was it 280k? I think 288 or thereabouts.
Yeah,
It was real low.
cheap.
Yeah, and he came late enough anyway, and it just didn't look like he was going to get a run. Then he did. Yeah, he's currently at 4.3% ownership. Now, when you look at his last game, he scored 94 points. He's averaging 66.5. Currently has a break even of minus 29. He's obviously going to make a lot of coin. He's obviously made a lot of coin already too. He's made 132k. I don't think it's too late to get on him either. I think at 420k you could probably do something with that. It's just a tricky one with the centers at the moment because no one's ready to trade yet. They're all still ripe for the picking. It's if you wanted to, you've got to go sideways or slightly up from a couple of these guys. Like you can kickstart a cash gen from Toya going into Toa. But again, you're paying up for it, and then by the time he's made the coin that you've just spent, you have basically broken even. So it doesn't make you go anywhere. But if you had an injury or an out, or if you're still sitting on like a Tuivasa Sheck for whatever reason, or Lucas, you could probably, I don't know if I'd want to trade him now, considering he's only probably 2 or 3 weeks away. But if you've got any of these guys, like, God, it'd be such a good option to go down to. Even a Dewey, like, he's got the 5'8", which is nice, but there's so many players you can just go slightly down to and kick it off because he looks really good. Eye test wise, yeah, he's flying. So props to you, Joel. You got one right, and you didn't start with him.
I'm spewing that his whole injury thing in round one that kept him away, because I would have had him in my team and I would have been sailing off into the sunset. Just remember, everyone, these two laughed at me live on air when I mentioned Stafford Toa, so in your face.
Yeah, well, he's no IPAP, is he?
Yeah. How's he right? How's the IPAP guy? That's gone very quiet. He had his start on the edge last week. How did that go?
Yeah, he fumbled big time. Goose.
Are you finally waving the white flag for that one? Are you finally done with him?
No, not yet. I think he'll be good next year.
Oh, righto. We'll go again. We'll have the same chat this, that,
He
next year.
He needs 12 months in the Penrith system, man.
100%.
Yeah,
second years, mate. It's the second year. Watch him next year. I'll be buying him next year. He'll be so cheap too. He'll be in the 400s. If he can just stay, if he can just stay real bad this season, I'll take it, because next year he's going to
get him at 200k.
Yeah, I wish. That'd be nice. We can go straight into the fullbacks if there's no one else there, Trev. Yep. Man, I've only got one fullback in here that's less than 5-7% ownership. That even slightly appeals to me, and it's one James Tedesco. So he's really shown that he's still the top dog in the fullback role, isn't he? 4.7% ownership. He just come off the back of 101 points, which is nuts. He's 840k, break even of 75, which I think he can comfortably get a 75 points. Against the Broncos too, it's not too bad. He's got a good game against the Broncos in him for sure. It's over in Suncorp too, I believe. So yeah, look, you can't do wrong with Teddy. You really can't. Like, I think he's just going to keep doing what he does. If it's a bad game, it's 70 points. If it's a good game, it could be anything, genuinely. So I really like it. He's a lot of money at the moment, but there's a lot of fullbacks at his price um, that have much higher ownership. You've got Gutho he's currently 800 almost 830k. Again, he was 680k 2 weeks ago, so that's why his ownership's much higher at 21%. Pappenhausen still in the sixes, 670 odd. He's 30%. Ponga's 46% owned, 760k. Then it kind of drops off a cliff a little bit, but Teddy, right up in the thick of it, scoring big points. Yeah, not even 5%. So he's a player that I'll be looking at getting in probably. What was that? They got the buy in round 10, I think it is. Or I will confirm that actually, because I think it's there or there. Yeah, they got a buy in round 10. Then they come back to the Dogs in round 11, so it's quite tricky. You wouldn't really want him in there before that. It's Broncos, Panthers, St. George, Dolphins, and then a bye, and then the Dogs. But at the same time, I honestly think you can just get Teddy in there and just not worry about it, because at the very least, it's a 70, an 80. You can probably bang out
I
120
hate the
against all of
price.
them. It's dear, but it's worth it. I think it's worth it, honestly.
I 100% agree. I mean, I did a write up on this on Sunday as well, that we posted on our Facebook and socials. But I think Teddy's the one we've got to have. Like, he's the second leading points scorer in the comp for fullback, third highest average. Like, he's just doing it. He's not going to play Origin, so he's going to be there for those big games. The problem that I've got with Teddy is the draw. So they got Broncos this week, Penrith, Dragons, Dolphins, bye round 10. They play 11, 12, 13, bye round 14. They play 15, 16, bye round 17. Unfortunately, the Roosters' draw is not great through a really tough period, and that hurts. But, I'm finding it really hard not to have Teddy. I'm finding it very hard not to have Teddy.
Yeah. Question for you both. Would you, in a position, because you both have him, would you go Ponga up to Teddy?
No.
Is that a trade you would make? No, you wouldn't do it.
No.
Damn.
Teddy just doesn't have the appeal he has to you two for me. I'm looking at the stats, and I'm looking at Pappy, for instance, who's almost 200k cheaper and has a mouth-watering 5 to 6 weeks coming up and averaging 2 points more than Teddy at the moment. Has the goal kicking currently.
The thing is, I agree with what you're saying, but I also am talking around for me, it's pod plays, and I'm talking about a dude who's under 5% owned. So that's why I haven't mentioned Pappenhausen. Like, we're talking that pod play. But to answer
but I'm also saying that's why I wouldn't make that trade either, because if I trade from Ponga, I'm trading down to Pappy.
That's the reason why I would
Yes,
humor it. I would do it, and I'm almost half considering it, to be honest with you. I've got the coin to do it. It would involve a boost. I feel dirty. I need to go immediately after this pod and go have a shower, thinking of boosting out Ponga to get Teddy in. It's absurd. But man, going from a 46% to a 4.7, automatically I'm like, I love that. I really like that sort of numbers. At the end of the day, it's like you're not getting in some pleb. You're not going down and just getting some guy who's a little bit hot on form. It's literally freaking number one player last season. Like, yeah, he doesn't look like he's slowing down. It's just the team doesn't look as good. But he's put numbers up. He's already hit. What's his score? 101. And that's not even the highest score. 83 the week before, 58, which is, if that's as bad, like Ponga just come off a 35 or something. And then in round 2, he scored 119, Teddy. So, like, he's got it in him. He hasn't gone anywhere. I think there will be a time very shortly where we start looking at Teddy and just go, yeah, we just have to do it. Don't let it happen too long again like it was last season. Just jump on. Even if it is 840k, what's he going to go to? Like, we at least got the luxury of having him start in the 700s last year. But, like, how much did you buy him for, Trav, last year?
Like $1 million.
Yeah. That was probably the last round of the comp, but either way, you had the money to spend.
It was the last 2 rounds.
Yeah. But yeah, like, man, when he's doing what he's doing, I'll buy him for $1 million, 100%. So Yeah, I don't mind it. I think his price is quite good. But yeah, that's where I'm going to end it on for the Potties at Tedesco is a really good one to end it on. So that's what I got.
Well done.
Nice.
Well,
Good
talk
things.
about our trades, I guess, for this week. How are we looking, boys? Who wants to kick us off for their trades for the week?
Okay,
Go. I'm
Go
just
on,
bringing
Nathan.
mine up. So
it's cool. So I'm trading out Tom Starling. Sort of mentioned what I was going to do last week, so I'll just go over it. I'm moving Starling out. I'm moving Sandon Smith back into my hooker position. I'll be running back to what I started with Mamas Ellis and Sandon Smith up the top. And I'll be bringing in Nathan Cleary for 688k. Really nice. So I was able to, I got off him, got Hines in, made some coin, saved some coin, basically turned Starling into Cleary from 350k. So yeah, the plan worked. It was, long in the works and it's doing good. I'm stoked to have it. It's easy. It would have been nice to get the 94 last week, but it is what it is. You take what you get. So yeah, both sitting in there, Hines and Cleary, looking pretty. The second trade, honestly, I don't think I'll even. I was going into this round just doing the one. I just thought I'll just do that Starling to Cleary move and I'll be finished. There's nothing pressing. I'm not ready to jump off a lot of players yet. I think they're all looking pretty good, but I have looked into it at the moment, and I've looked at Gajewski to Cant, and there's not a lot in it. It's quite low budget. There's not much happening, but Gajewski's obviously finished. He's not making anything else long term, and if it is cash, it's maybe 5k here or there, but he's going to drop more than he'll make. Cant's a really popular one, and we've had a lot of discussion the last day about the prospects of Thomas Cant, and we can talk about this live too, which is good. So his break even at the moment is minus 66. He's traded in by, holy shit, 32,500 people. Didn't realize it was that many. That's a lot.
Still want him?
270.
it'll
Yeah,
go
200.
up even more in the next few days.
Oh, he's not a player that you're going in there for the pod reasons. It's for the cash. 274k is a great downgrade option from a Gajewski like I've done, or even like a Hubner or not Hubner. Sorry, and don't get rid of Hubner. Jesus, Geimer is the one I was thinking. Yeah, there's a few of these like sort of middling 300 second rowers that just haven't really taken off. I think he's a great option just to make that coin that you're not going to get off him. We've both got different ideas on what the Cant prospects look like going forward. Look, I love the buy. I think it's a fantastic get. I think his prospects are probably going to stop after about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, as far as it goes right now. I would imagine the Knights revert back to their starting second row options of Pierce, Paul, and Lucas. Not to say, Cant doesn't deserve it, but I just think that's the way that they will run, and he will revert back to a bench spot or drop out. But I don't think he'll drop out. They've got enough injuries where he can keep a spot, and his points per minute is so freaking good. His base is through the roof. There was an article, a little write-up that got put up about Cant as well. Numbers are incredible. I just think he's a really good get. He's going to make 150k in 2 weeks. And with that, you can either jump off and do something else with him, Cant and someone upgrade down to a bottom dollar guy, or best case scenario, he gets a spot, he wins it, and you just keep him because his numbers are freaking incredible. So, yeah, either way, can't really go wrong with it. But yeah, that's where I'm sort of sitting. It's going to be just a guy that's pretty much gone stale to a guy that's making some coin, and he's playable as well while he's starting. So, yeah, that's where I'm looking. Those two.
Yep.
Trev? My trades are, so I'm currently looking at trading Noffa White down to through Jules down to Cant because I want that's 300 or 280k. So that's a bank of a massive amount of money. White probably still has some money in him, but he's got it. Well, I would say so. He does with a 38 break even, but I think White's done his job for me, and I'm very happy to trade him out. I was happy that I kept him because I was going to trade him out around 3 or 4, and just went, oh no, I've got other problems, and then he just exploded with a couple of big scores and done that. So. Thank you. Goodbye. My next one is Harris Tavita, and I have now changed. I've pivoted from Harris Tavita to Galvin. So instead of Munster, I was on Munster, but I've pivoted that to Galvin, as I said. I I want that pod play. I think Munster's being Munster. He's got 77. I did a big write up on it. I know what Munster's like. I get it, but I want to just make a pod play. There's probably a reason why I'm not moving with good scores as far up the ranks as what I want to, and that's what I'm doing. So I've got that, and then the other one I've got to do is I have to get out Hopgood. I'm just so over him. And it's not even Hopgood's fault. I don't think it is. I think it's the coach's fault. I think it's the team's fault. He's just got such bad form, and I can't deal with it. I just can't deal with the fact that there's a 2RF that played in the hooker spot.
Yeah, it's boost.
Ooh.
That's right. Good.
Yep, I'm boosting.
Like
so I've got to get rid of I just can't stand it. I can't stand watching Hopgood. Unfortunately, I've lost 70K. So my play at this moment is Hopgood to Katoa.
Not good.
Go to Hudson Young.
But
Do it.
But it's either it's more than likely probably going to be Young or Nickera.
It's got to be Young. I feel like it's calling
after
to
a
you.
pod.
Mate,
poddy, got to do it.
You would feel so good about having Young in your side every week. You look at it, you see Hudson Young there. God, you'd feel good about
against
that.
the Eels. He'll get 150.
Friggin' hell. Yeah. He will run through for 3 tries.
I think he's on short. He's running through Sean Lane, I think. So easy.
Right. Captain him. I'd VC him. I'm not even joking.
I'd captain him. Just straight captain against Sean Lane every day of the week.
Yeah, look, nah, I just don't think, when it comes to that move, like, I'll be moving Hopgood on. I did it in, when did I get rid of Hopgood? Round 3? I think I was just, I don't want this. This is too much. And again, it's a shame too. Like, he's got everything, he could have everything going for him. It's just, he's been moved around weirdly enough. It's just big shame. But, so you got between Katoa, Young, Nickera. Oh, that's a wealth, isn't it? That's some moves.
It'll leave me with 56K in the bank too, so which is not a small amount. But yeah, that's my trades for round 6 at this point in time. More than likely change as we do, and I'll post it in the Legends.
Good stuff. Joel.
I've got some dilemmas, boys. I've got absolutely no idea what to do. I know what to do this week, but it's about finding ways to do it and things like that. As I said, I'm not happy. The team was doing its thing the last couple of weeks and just going down this hill that I've now decided to just grab the handbrake, shove it on, put my foot on the accelerator, and we're going to go back up this hill. It's time to start making some moves, and I'm not being Mr. Nice Guy anymore. It's another boost is coming, and it's time to shake some things up. So as I said, I haven't spent too much time. I rushed it as well, so I'll probably spend more time over the next 24 hours or so fixing this up. But I'm going to give you guys a couple of options that I've looked at that I can do at the moment, and it's 3 options. Tell me what one you like the most. So the first one is trading out Reynolds, Metcalf, and Ponga to Pappy, Gutho, and Savala, so the Roosters' new guy, the halfback. So that's option 1. Okay. Option 2 is not a boost. Option 2 is, and it frees me up a heap of cash to make some plays next week, which I'm looking at targeting some outside backs. A guy called Karaz is high on my priority list from maybe Arthur's, I'm thinking at the moment. So I'll need some cash to do that. Reynolds and Metcalf out. Do not want to play with Metcalf anymore, and I just don't like Reynolds this weekend. The fact that he's carrying a bit of a hamstring injury, I don't want to deal with him. And trading in Pappy and that Savala bloke once again, which I don't like, to be honest, guys. I'm not for it, but it frees me up things to let me play moving forward. The last one, Ponga, Metcalf, and Dewey. See you later. Gutho, Pappy, and I hate this one as well, De Groot, who looks horrible. And I don't want him whatsoever. But again, it allows me and frees me up some cash for next week. Now, I'm in a bit of a dilemma because my forwards and that, I'm actually really happy where my forwards sit. I don't really want to touch him, but I also understand what Trav's there saying regarding White. And maybe it is time just to be able to make some moves, is to get rid of someone like him, downgrade him, free up 300 odd K, which is huge, and then make some moves elsewhere. I'm really big at the moment on the Dragons run coming up, and the fact that, and you both did it last week with Gutho, and I'm kicking myself a bit, but he's literally doing every single thing like for that team. It's ridiculous. Like their halves are so poor, and I can only see Gutho still carrying on 100+ scores over the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. It's ridiculous. Yeah, there's this. I know Ponga, but Pappy at the moment, I just love the Storms run as well, and I just want to be all over that. So they're the two that I really want to get. I don't know. I don't know what to do, boys. I'm gonna have to go into the chalkboard, get out, and do some matrix.
We'll talk off air. I reckon Gutho
No,
will end the season as a top 3 fullback.
Yeah, the only thing stopping Gutho is injury. Literally.
But like, you plays through him anyway. So if it's not like, if he's getting taken off on a stretcher, it's the only time I'd be like, oh, okay, Gutho's actually injured now. He could lose a foot and still run out. Honestly, he'll just play through it all. Yeah, look, you're paying up for him, but I genuinely don't think it's a problem. Same discussion, the same thing with Teddy. It's just like, you pay for what you get, and if it's quality, and if it's the guys, they're averaging over 100.
It's just that's what I mean. Like, I just feel like he's everywhere, and I just swallow my pride, get the king in, and just say I got one wrong. Which I'm human. I'm a human. I got one wrong.
Oh, you got it.
I did it last year with Teddy.
Yeah, a little bit late, but that's the thing. You don't want to leave it that late. And how many times have we done it with just players that are in form and flying, and you're like, God, it'd be really nice to have him. It's like, well, then why don't you? You know what I mean? Like, I've got so many other things to do right now. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, that's the guy that you've been talking about for a month, and you could have done it at some point, but you got to pay for it regardless. And now you will. And honestly, I don't think he's going to really dip much lower than what he's at. Like, if you're going to wait for him to come down, you'll be waiting a long time. So,
what do you reckon about Reynolds? Would you risk him this week if you had him in your team, or I just with his like I just can't.
No, not really super interested, to be honest, in Reynolds at the moment. Yeah, look, that little thing that happened with his kicking, you got to imagine that he might even just relinquish the goal kicking for a little while too, because the injury happened off a kick. So a little bit concerning, because that's good chunk of his points come through those things, and especially when the Broncos get on a roll, he'll probably hand him over to Walsh. So we'll see what happens, man. If he doesn't kick, I think he's got to go. But I don't know if I'd be waiting to find out.
Reynolds has done what you got him for, right? You brought him in for 2 weeks to make 140K. He's got a break even 114 now. And you've literally, and the one thing that we all said was we're hoping in this 2-3 weeks that he doesn't get injured. Well, guess what? He got injured, and it's not going to be a miss a game injury, but it just makes it even more concerning. So everything that's happened of what we said, what everyone has said about him, is just the sign of, okay, he's got to go. He's done what he did, what you wanted him to do. Now get him out.
Yeah, I think the better thing would have been happening is for him actually to miss a game and not play and actually be injured. His price won't drop, and you can sit on it for at least a week. But look at Teddy. Sorry, not Teddy. Turbo.
Late mail.
He was fit from an injury, and he played like rubbish. He just didn't do anything. Ponga. I remember last year when he had this injury and he played through it, and you're like, why are they even out there? Like, they are doing nothing. They're hurting themselves. Just stop and take him off.
It's a week I'd love to have Hunt, to be honest, because I reckon he will do everything for the Broncos on the weekend in terms of halves anyway. So obviously Walsh is there, and Walsh do what Walsh does, but I think Hunt really steps up, and Reynolds, if he does end up playing, takes a huge basically an on-field coach. I can't see him scoring much, but that's what I'm planning on. To be honest, Tommy Sangster out there, if I could have 4 trades this week, please, I would actually make 4 trades. So. But I will definitely be boosting. That's one thing I'll be doing. I'll definitely be boosting. And Legends group, once again, we will have everything in the Legends group.
So I'm like, you have to like confirm the numbers and stuff, but I'm just thinking out loud. So you've got Ponga. You want to get Ponga out. You want to go to Pappy. Look, I don't hate it. Honestly, I don't hate it. So that gives you
100K.
how much is that? About 100K. You could then go Reynolds. You could
Exactly.
probably go up to Jerome Hughes if you wanted to go a little bit different. Get yourself a Storm player in there as well. Go the double Storm, bang bang. I don't even think that's going to cost you a boost. I don't think you'll have to do anything. That's 2 options there, and you're going. Essentially, it's an upgrade, a decent upgrade. It's quite sideways when you're looking at the whole Ponga Pappy thing, but. And then if you want cash for next week, you can just boost out White for Cant anyway, and then there you can go straight away from Arthurs to Karaz in one move. And that's
Do you have
just
cash in the bank?
thinking. Yeah.
And 50K.
Yeah,
So
so
you
you'll
need to
just have enough because you'll need 130 to get Reynolds to Hughes.
Yeah.
And
So there's an
so
option.
you'll have just enough.
Yeah.
Well, if I do the White down to can't move, that'll free
You'll,
up
you'll,
a crap load of cash. So
Yeah, well, that's the
which
thing. Like
is
you can
very
do
tempting
that.
to do now. So
Still good, and you can go into next week knowing that you've already got that trade locked up.
Yeah.
You've got the coin for it. So it's kind of how I did it this week, doing the move from Arthur's down to Jenkins. Was that I'll go into this week with 200 plus 300, almost 300K, so I can just go Starling to Cleary in a single move, and then it's like that boost has almost turned into a 4th progressive trade because you're kind of planning for the next one without having to do much. So I would look at that, but again, like do the numbers and see, if you're happy
and
to
it
drop
also
someone like Warner.
the good thing in terms of like the risk of letting go of White, and we miss his 50 or 60 odd that he's been getting as of late, even more. But it also allows, because we've got all been whinging that we keep choosing the wrong reserves, so we've got tons on the bench that we can be picking. So just means one less headache, I guess, and maybe we've got one better chance to choose the right reserves on a weekly basis. So
Yeah. Or
yeah,
can
that's
score
what I'll
70
do.
points.
I'll lock it in. So
Yeah.
I'll,
Yeah, no,
I'll lock it
we'll
in
talk
at
about
some
it anyway.
point
But it
tomorrow.
looks good. Cool. Captains and sit V starts. Who are we looking at?
So currently I've got the VC on Cleary against the Dolphins Thursday night, and into Gutho captain against the Titans Friday night.
Yeah, that's really good. Hey, I'm looking at pretty much the exact same thing. I would have gone into it. I was looking at doing a VC on Gutho and a C on Pappenhausen, but then I looked at my side, and my only real way to nuff out anyone is with Tino or Simpkins, and they play game 2. So if I do that, I don't actually have any way to loop my VC. So I have to go VC Cleary, which will then put me on that same path of VC Cleary, C Gutho. And to be fair, it's probably one of the better options of the week.
Yep. I've currently done the same. I got VC on Nathan Cleary. Currently sitting with Haas with the C, but I haven't updated that from last week. That won't be happening this week. Don't worry. It will either be Gutho or Pappenhausen, whoever I end up bringing in. I will put the C on. So just, stay tuned for that one. Whatever I bring in. I think wasn't it you, Jesse, last year that had that rule whenever you brought someone in, like a big name, you had to captain them.
Yeah. It was about the Juju.
I'll look
so you
try
got
and get that.
at least a VC or a C. You got to put something on them. I was always VC in my trade-ins. And it's kind of one of those things where, like, if they're not early enough and they play, after your captain, you just VC them for the good luck for your captain. But it's about the Juju. Trust me, it makes a difference.
Yep. That's
Who are
it,
your
isn't it? Is that it?
We've got reserves to talk. We didn't mention it last week. I sort of
Yep.
got to the end and was like, oh, wait a second. We didn't really touch on them. But look, mine almost choose themselves. And they will next week when Tino's back. So my reserves are Kalen Ponga, Jaden Campbell, Nico Hines, and what traditionally would be probably a Tino. I'm tossing up this week between Purdue. I really like Purdue. I think he's good. I don't play him enough to get those good scores. I always miss him. But I think the matchup's quite good. He's obviously playing against the South. He would be running into Whiten's side too. So not too bad. Him or Thomas Kent against the Tigers. New trade in. Give him a reserve chip and see what he can do against them. So I'm leaning this stage at Kent. But again, Purdue, I'm really struggling to actually pick my center wings because I don't have a reserve on any of my bench center wings. I'm playing Garrick, Marzu, Tamale, and Jenkins, and I'm sitting Shibasaki, Purdue, and Toya And I haven't gotten it right this year. I've always picked the wrong guy. But I really like Tamale against the Eels, and I really like Jenkins against the Finns. More so than Shibasaki against the Roosters and the Rice. Obviously, Purdue against the South. So I expect to get one or two of those wrong, as always. But that's kind of where I'm sitting. And my reserves, besides the one left, I don't really have too many other plays that I do. So
I'm going Iongi, Tamale, White for now, and Horsburgh. But that will change once I do my trades. Trav.
Yeah. I'm on. I've had to put Holsborough on the field for Tino, so he's on. But I've got Iongi with the reserve. I've got Jenkins. I'm playing Shibasaki. I think against the Roosters, Shibasaki's got at least a try in him this weekend. I got Munster, not Munster. I've got Galvin, and I've got Cant. Is my 4.
Yep. No, solid. Yeah. See, the center wing thing's really tricky. Like, I want to play all of them, but you just can't. And
Nope.
it's got to be it's Kant or one of them. Trying to work out who it is.
Yeah. That can go into the legends.
Yeah, that'll be all the legends. So from here on in, as you all know, each and every week, apart from our post tomorrow with our lineups, everything else, trades and captains, everything we lock in will be in the Legends group on Facebook, $2.99 per month. Make sure you head on over. For those that listen all the way through, we have our Magic Round event as well coming up. Really keen for that. It's only a matter of weeks away now. To reward anyone who's got through here, code word MAGIC. First one to send it over to the page. You'll win yourself a double pass to our Magic Round events. So really keen to invite you all there. Do we have some questions, Trav? Did we?
There's a couple. There's a couple put into the Legends group. So we could just quickly have a touch on them for a couple of minutes. But the first question is just want to hear some thoughts. I think this one's from James. Just want to hear some thoughts. Is it time to drop a premium FRF to get a Katoa in? Now Storm look to be in form and have a good run. By dropping a premium just means I bring Tino up as well for context.
I wouldn't say so, to be honest. I think the FRFs are doing enough to put a similar points output. It's not by the same player, but the same points. That's the thing. That's the thing you're getting. You're giving up 75, give or take, from a premium front rower for 75 from a premium second rower. Fair enough, you've got the movement for him. You can move Tino up and, might shift a reserve chip to someone else. But I think for what you're losing in a points gain situation, you're not doing much with it. I think what you want to do is keep those premium guys and just find a way. Find a way. You got to have someone, a Nafahu White or a Nicholson, or even, I don't know, Horsburgh might be on the block in 4 weeks' time or something as well if he sort of caps out. But he's even doing really good things. You want to just stack them. You don't want to just drop one in one position to get another guy in another position doing similar things. So I'd kind of be against it, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to not try and get Katoa in. It depends on who this guy you're dropping is. Like if it's a Terrell May or something or a Haas, like I would definitely not do that. Not even close. Everyone else is probably not dear enough to really push that far up with either at this stage. So yeah, hard one.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I wouldn't be trading out those premium front row forwards for Katoa, to be fair. I'd be finding another way. I think you've got them there. That's where it is. There's only 4 of them. Unless you only want to go 2 and then have 2 on the bench that are like cheap options or one's enough kind of thing, which is what most of us have with Simkin. I don't think that's a very good trade, to be fair. The second question was, this is from Simon. Has the time come to give up on Greg the Leg Marju and move him to Herbie? Marju is likely owed at least 4 tries by the best ball hog in the game this season. The Knights appear to have lost all sense of direction.
Marzu shits me to tears, man. Like, I know his base is good, but I watch him, and every time I watch, I'm like, God, Marzu, do something. Please get the ball. Like, it's just, he's not like he's not trying. He just doesn't get it, like you mentioned with Best. Look, if it's a move from Best to Herbie, 100%, I would say do it. There might be people that disagree with it because, Marzu's got great base. But yeah, Herbie's one of the best. No pun intended. he is. I would say he's up there again, probably top 3 as well. I would do it. Honestly, I really would. I've been looking at moving Marzio on for about a week or 2 now. So just got to find the guy to do it. And it's probably going to be Carraz, to be fair. But yeah, I would. Honestly, I would. Even though with the run coming, you can definitely hold Marzio. I think Marzio's going to have tries regardless. And I think the Knights will probably work it out enough for him to increase to a 50, 60 minimum. But yeah, I would do it.
I'm a Marju owner and would do the same thing. I agree. Definitely. The pod play with Herbie as well just screams to me like it's a good play. No brainer.
Yep. Cool.
That it?
Good thing.
That's the 2 questions.
There we go. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. You know how it is by now. Share it. Tell your mates about us. And we will catch you for our Sunday round review podcast. Goodbye.